Hey y'all, it's Anna. Welcome back to my faith-based channel where we discuss all things DIY and crafting. Today I'm going to show you how I create a vinyl decal starting with a blank canvas on Cricut Design Space. So I'm going to create a design completely from scratch using everything that Cricut Design Space offers, and I'm going to take you along from start to finish throughout the entire process. So let's get started. So now I have my blank canvas here, and because I'm going to be using like everything that Cricut Design Space offers, I'm going to go over to their images and just look for an image to use in my design. I want to create like a faith-based design, and I'm thinking of using a butterfly in it, so I'm going to actually search for a butterfly under images. And you'll see like these little symbols typically in the upper right corner. So these require a Cricut Access subscription, or you can actually purchase them separately once you get ready to like cut or print your design. Typically, I try to find free images if possible, so I'm just going to go ahead and look for a free design. And I believe I'm going to select this one, use this one, and then I'm going to go and get ready to add some text. So really quick, before I add text to my design, I just wanted to look online and see what free fonts are available. Cricut does offer several fonts for free, but they don't have like a super wide range of fonts that are free that you may like for your design. A lot of them are pretty basic, so I went to dafont.com, and there's several other websites that you can look at to find free fonts that match your style and what you want in your design, and you can download them for free. And so they all have like different categories with whatever you're looking for. So I'm going to look under calligraphy. Scroll through here, and also once you click on the category, you can go over here and click more options. And I definitely want to make sure it's 100% free, because some of these you'll see that they are free for personal use, so you want to be careful with like the licensing and everything, because some of these you won't be able to use for like commercial purposes. So I just like to go ahead and make sure they're 100% free, and then I scroll through, and I'm going to download this Ballet Harmony font, and then once it downloads, I'm going to go ahead and install it. So I have opened up the zip folder that I downloaded, and it includes my font. Some of these will include two different types of fonts. You'll have a true type and an open type, so they've just included a true type. I'm going to go ahead and double click on it. And I have a Windows computer, so this is the format of what it looks like once I open up the font. I have an option to print or install. I'm going to go ahead and click install. Okay, so now the font has installed. I'm ready to use it in Cricut Design Space. And in order for it to update and be included in the system fonts on Cricut, you may need to close Cricut Design Space and open it back up. So that's what I'm going to do really quick, and then we will continue with our design. So I want my design today to be inspired by today's verse, which is 2 Corinthians 5, verse 17. Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. Old things have passed away. Behold, all things have become new. So I'm going to go ahead and put new creation along with this butterfly image. So I'm going to go to text. Type new creation. Okay, and I'm going to adjust the size here for a little bit. I'm going to go and find the font that I just installed a while ago. So I'm going to go up here to System because it's downloaded to the computer. And I see right here Ballet Harmony is uploaded. So I'm going to rearrange, just kind of figuring out how exactly I want this to be laid out. Okay, I'm going to add more text, and I'm going to add the Bible verse underneath it. And I think I'm going to do this in a different font. So I'm going to look and see what Cricut has on the system list. I'm going to look through really quick. Okay, so I'm chosen this font right here that I'm going to use. I did change the color of the font up here just to get a closer look at the font. You can see as I zoom in that where the words meet, or the letters meet I should say, instead of it being smooth and connected, it looks like there are lines cutting right here from one letter to the next. And sometimes fonts will do that, especially if they're like cursive or like a calligraphy font and you upload them to Cricut Design Space and use them, and then it'll actually end up cutting like that, and we don't want that to be cut. We actually want this to all be smooth and connected. So I'm going to go down here to Combine, and I'm going to click on Weld. And if you look now, it's taken that issue away. So now I'm going to work on making sure that everything is centered the way that I want it to be. So I'm going to select everything because I want to make sure that everything is aligned the way that it's supposed to be. So I want to make sure that everything is actually centered horizontally. It is now, and we're going to go ahead and group everything together. And so I'm going to use the one color for like the entire decal. If you want to, you could always like separate this, make them different colors, and cut it that way and make it into one decal. So now I have everything ready to go and actually cut the Cricut decal out. So now I have everything in place, the layout the way that I want it, the fonts that I want, and I'm ready to cut the vinyl decal. So before I actually move towards setting up my Cricut Joy, I just want to go ahead and make sure that the size is where I want it to be. Because I have a Cricut Joy, it is the smallest Cricut cutting machine, so I'm unable to make decals as large as like the Cricut Maker, for example. So I want the width of this to be 4.5 inches wide. So now it's going to be about 3.34 inches. Okay, so now I'm going to go over to Make. And because I will be using Cricut Smart Vinyl, I do not need to use a mat with my Cricut cutting machine. So I'm going to go without a mat. And I see that I'm going to need about 5 inches of vinyl. So here's what it's going to look laid out. I'm going to click Continue. So I'm going to use the Smart Vinyl, the permanent vinyl, and it's matless. I do not need to use a mat. So now I'm going to go ahead and get ready to prep my vinyl and load it into my machine. So I have my trimmer here that I'm going to actually use to trim my roll of vinyl to actually get the correct measurement that I need to actually put into my Cricut Joy machine. So I have decided to use this teal vinyl here. and Cricut Design Space showed that I need at least 5 inches in width. So I'm actually going to take the ruler on the side, bring it out, and I'm going to put the vinyl face down. I usually line it up with this straight line here. I'm going to measure out to about 5 inches, and I see that it's about between this dotted line and this solid line here. So I'm going to line it up. And you can always go a little bit further over just in case, if as long as you just want to make sure that you are having enough vinyl. So now we have our section of vinyl that is ready to be put into our Cricut cutting machine. So now I am ready to load my vinyl into my Cricut Joy. And so I'm going to go ahead and go through. I'm going to line it up. And once I line it up, it's going to automatically start feeding it into the machine. So now my vinyl is loaded into the Cricut machine and I'm ready to click go, and our Cricut Joy is going to start cutting through the vinyl. Now I'm going to click unload and the Cricut Joy is going to release the vinyl out of the machine, and I'm going to begin weeding the vinyl. So I have my weeder here, and I'm going to go ahead and take all the excess vinyl out from like in the middle of the letters and all around. And really quick, I actually got these tools in a set from Cricut.com. These were actually like a starter kit that was marketed more for the Cricut Joy, but obviously you could use them with any machine that you have. And so I did get all of my supplies except for vinyl off of Cricut.com, but you can get the vinyl there, of course. You can find everything that you need on there. So I'm going to go ahead and weed all this vinyl out and show you the entire process. So now I'm ready to take my transfer tape and apply it to my vinyl decal so that I can actually transfer it to where I want it to go. And also Cricut, if you have a Cricut Joy, you can get vinyl and transfer tape specifically made for your machine on Cricut.com and other craft store places, so that way you don't have to worry about trying to cut larger rolls of vinyl or transfer tape. It already comes in the width that you need for your machine. So when I take my transfer tape, I'm going to go ahead and line it up to the design, and I'm going to put this through my trimmer and just trim off the very edge because there is a little bit that's going to overlap here. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off just the edge a little bit. And now I'm going to go ahead, put it face down, take my weeder, and peel the paper off the back of this transfer tape. And then I'm going to just line it up. If you want to, one thing that can make this more convenient is if you do have a mat that you can put this on that'll be sticky enough to hold your decal flat while you do it. Or you can just do it this way. It's totally up to you. I'm going to try to line it up the best that I can. Okay, and I'm going to grab my scraper over here, and I'm just going to start pushing this transfer tape slowly onto the vinyl here. Just want to try to smooth it out the best that I can so that the tape completely covers the entire design and so that I don't have a lot of bubbles all over the vinyl. I do have some hanging off the top here, so I'm going to go back and trim off this excess here as well. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and keep scraping this until we get it smoothed out, and sometimes you may even want to put it face down and smooth it all over the back this way, and then once I do that, it'll be ready to peel off. And if you have issues with your vinyl not sticking to your transfer tape, one thing you can do is when you are ready to peel it back, you can actually take it like this and peel this paper back from the transfer tape, and that can make it easier as well. So I'm going to show you what it looks like once it actually attaches to the tape. So I have my vinyl decal here, and I've put the transfer tape onto the vinyl, and I've been working a little bit with the scraper as well as this spatula here to try and really get that transfer tape to stick to the vinyl. And these decals are perfect for like personalizing things such as notebooks, even electronics such as phones, laptops. You can create labels with them and put them on different items. This particular vinyl is permanent vinyl, so it's also perfect for creating car decals. They do last a long time, and they are UV resistant, so you don't have to worry about them fading after a short period of time. And Cricut also makes removable vinyl if you're interested in that. Right here, what I have is a recipe book, and I'm just going to put this decal just on the inside of this cover here. So I'm going to do one last final scrape with this spatula here just to make sure that this transfer tape is all the way across this vinyl and smooth. And that's going to help us with transferring this vinyl. So I'm going to do what I did earlier, and I'm going to work slowly and peel this paper back from the vinyl. And sometimes you might have to work with it a little bit because sometimes the vinyl can be stubborn. And sometimes I do take my spatula if I need to, and just really carefully so that I'm not tearing the vinyl. And it's easier to do that when you have like larger pieces like that. And I'm just going to keep peeling the vinyl down away from the paper. We want to be careful as we are peeling back, and we want to look at the letters, make sure that we're not pulling to the point where the vinyl is also stuck on the paper and it could tear the vinyl. So I just want to be careful Make sure that everything is sticking the way that it should. I'm going to peel this last letter down very gently. Okay, and now the vinyl is completely adhered to our transfer tape here, and now we're going to get ready to transfer it to the surface that we want it on. So we'll try to line it up the best that I can, and as you can see, this transfer tape kind of has a grid on it, so that can be helpful with lining things up here. I'm going to grab my scraper, and as I slowly put this on, I want to make sure that I'm scraping as I apply the vinyl to try to help smooth out any bubbles that might try to form. Just want to make sure that everything sticks the way that it should. And like I said before, the transfer tape, depending upon what kinds you have, you can get a different transfer tape that might be more adhesive. Cricut also makes a transfer tape that is more sticky. They make it specifically for their shimmer vinyls, which have a different texture. So now we're going to slowly peel that back once we've smoothed it down with our scraper. Okay, and as you can see, we really don't have any air bubbles at all after using that scraper, and our vinyl decal has been fully transferred to this surface. So now we have our finished product here. Thank y'all so much for tuning in to today's tutorial. The amount of crafts and design projects that you can do with a Cricut is endless, and even if you do decide to go with something on the smaller end like a Cricut Joy, you can still create a lot of different project ideas. If you would be interested in more of these Cricut Joy design ideas, please be sure to leave a comment below. If you liked this video and found it helpful, please be sure to leave a like. And if you're interested in future DIY and crafting content, please be sure to subscribe to my channel. Thank y'all so much for tuning in. Until next time.